Hello and welcome to the first edition of News Across Nigeria for the week. I'm Olumide Macaulay. On today's program, factional PDP National Chairman Ali Modu Sharif storms party secretariat in Abuja, insists he is still in charge. Police Service Commission announced plans to recruit 10,000 new police personnel. And Nigerian military partners with local hunters to aid navigation of difficult terrain as the fight against insurgency heightens in the northeast. Thank you so much for joining us. After several hours of confrontation with security men, factional chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Ali Modu Sharif, has gained entry into the PDP headquarters in Abuja. Mr. Sharif had led his group to the Wadata Plaza National Secretariat of the PDP, but was initially prevented from going in by armed policemen. Speaking with journalists outside the party headquarters, he says he remains chairman of the PDP. He adds that the court does not recognize the constitution of a caretaker committee.
As you may be aware, that we have been facing some challenges since we put up the National Convention in Port Harcourt last month. We'll therefore consider the height of self-deceit for anyone to pretend that PDP is not in crisis. But I wish to assure you that we have been working round the clock to see how we can resolve the matter without being on the wrong side of the law. All the judgments that are available today recognize us as the sole chairman of this party. We have had a court order in our hand to allow us to go into our office. But the Inspector General of Police, after having truce with him, that nobody should be allowed until we decided, he decided to take the law into his hands and allow the wrong people. We that have the court order, we have the court order which says that I should be the legitimate chairman of this party. Until 2018, you can see the barricade of police that the IG brought that we should not go into the office. We will be law-abiding, but Nigerians and police, Nigerian police is made for Nigerian people to observe the rule of law. The court clearly stated that the IG should give us police to come into our office. Instead, he decided to block our office. Here is a court order clearly saying we should go into the office, and nothing is stopping us from going into the office, but he brought platoon of police to block our office.
Mr. Ali Modu Sharif thereafter gained entry into the PDP secretariat as he wanted. Now to other news. Bishop of the Sokoto Diocese of the Catholic Church, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, has challenged Muslims in northern Nigeria to realize the importance of the Christian minority group in their region and coexist in a bid to move the country forward. Bishop Kuka, who was speaking in an interview with Channels Television in Mulamfashi area of Katsina State after a church mass, asked Muslims to understand the values of their religion.
I pray that the Muslims in Nigeria will really understand the values of their religion. It's the one thing I pray for when I'm in the mosque. And I therefore hope that the fasting that we are fasting, we also are fasting not just because of our personal sins, but we fast for our sins of omission, our inability, our unwillingness to do right, to humanity, because we are human. So I hope that as Muslims are fasting, they will also appreciate and look inwards, not just at personal sins, but also at things that we may have done, to diminish the religion itself by our acts that don't suggest our common brotherhood. So my challenge to the Muslims in northern Nigeria, where I live and where I belong, is that we cannot grow in this country if the weakest link in the chain, namely the predicament of the non-Muslim population, is not taken very seriously. And I believe there's a lot we can do together. We in the Catholic Church, we don't have the finances, but the little finances we have, we're building schools, and we want everybody's child, as best as we can, to participate in our educational program. And we can only do this if we, reach out in friendship to one another.
Staying in the northern region, a forum in Kaduna State, the Northwest, has commended the federal government's efforts in the fight against corruption and the war against the Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast. Participants who brainstormed over the issue of security and religious tolerance were, however, divided as to whether government should use dialogue or force to deal with the Niger Delta Avengers that have been attacking several oil installations in the last few months.
The forum is organized to appraise the performance of the Buhari administration and look into areas of progress made since it came to power 1 year ago. Some of the speakers at the event say the present government has made significant progress, especially in trying to wipe out corruption.
And then the second thing we have...
They also applaud the federal government in its efforts to liberate the entire northeast from the Boko Haram insurgents, despite allegedly inheriting an economy that was near collapse.
We have somebody in leadership who has the commitment, who has the vision, and who knows the progress plaguing this country from all ramifications.
Real change has come to stay in Nigeria. For once in many years, we have a forthright leader who, a strong and incorruptible leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, is laying the foundation and rebuilding this nation from the jaws of the decades of decay.
Another issue that resonates here is the emergence of the new militant group, the Niger Delta Avengers in the Niger Delta region.
No doubt, the Niger Delta has really been degraded by the activities of exploration of oil. We know that. That is true. They have the right for clean environment. And they have to be compensated for that. But when new Avengers came, the question came, what were they avenging?
For the spokesman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the 19 northern states, Reverend Joseph Hayab, the federal government should apply dialogue with the militants, just like the previous administration did with the Boko Haram sect.
But what I find it difficult to understand is when we gather people and begin to incite ourselves against each other. What Nigeria needs now is unity. What Nigeria needs now is peace, so that the man God has placed in position of authority now can lead us to the promised land.
As long as the country continues to experience various types of violence, forums like these will be convened. What is important, however, is that thoughts are deeply articulated without any form of bias, while those in authority are expected to critically examine issues raised and act on those they believe will assist in solving the problem.
You're watching News Across Nigeria, where we tell you what's happening now across the Nigerian Federation. Coming up, the army solicits the help of local hunters who know the lay of the land as the fight against Boko Haram continues in the northeast. Please stay with us.